Well, goodbye, horses, and hello, Clarice. Welcome to the Silence of the Jams tournament hosted by Gotham Roller Derby. We're in North Arlington, New Jersey. And whether you got us on in the background while you're on a Zoom call or whether you're just pushing your mouse so your boss thinks you're still working, thank you for tuning in on a Friday morning. We're going to see game one of this tournament. We're going to see They Got the Right Stuff Baby, Montreal New Skids on the Block, versus they've been purified in the waters of Lake Minnetonka, the Minnesota All-Stars. It's going to be a great lineup. Both these teams highly ranked in the Northeast region of the Women's Flat Track Roller Derby Association. Minnesota coming to the track already, and we'll be seeing the New Skids on the Block sending their skaters out momentarily. All right, so if I can trust my eyes, it looks like we got number 187, Lexi Cutter, is going to be jamming first for Minnesota. And we'll tell you about the jammer for New Skids in just a moment as they come around the turns. So here we go, our first jam of the day in the Silent of the Jams tournament hosted by Gotham Roller Derby. Both skaters are pushing the pack closely. Minnesota's trying on the inside, but gets pushed back. Meanwhile, the New Skid skaters trying on the outside, can't find daylight. Well, there they go. They're trying back on the inside, but they got blocked off. It's Bro Citrus. That's who's jamming for the New Skids on the Block. They get pushed to the back. Meanwhile, Minnesota's jammer is still up front, but can't seem to find an opening. These are tough defenses we're seeing. Minnesota's trying to jailbreak their jammer. Hasn't quite worked out. The pack has come together. We're still at turn one, folks. So as the action resumes on turn one, both at a standstill as the jammers have been blocked by three walls that are not getting broken up. Both are trying to use their extra blocker as a way to break up. And now, sure enough, we got the New Skids. Bro Citrus is the jammer and to the front of the pack. But they get held up. Wow, these defenses are not playing games. We're at turn two, and we still don't have a lead jammer. But Minnesota's lead jammer, Lexi Cutter, is getting called for a cut the track and is headed to the box. So if Bro Citrus can get out of the pack, which they just did, we will have our lead jammer. We got 37 seconds left in the jam. They got time to score some points. Coming around turn two, she's going to engage with the pack, skating into inside, outside. Oh, they're holding her up, but she's looking for a way to the outside and looks back at her coach, decides, let's call it just before this jam ends. They pick up a couple of 3 points. So, Montreal, the first one on the board with 3 points. It is a 3-0 ball game, folks. All right, we're going to start jam 2 here. Montreal up on the line. And remember, Montreal gets to start with the jammer, but Minnesota's jammer still in the box to start this jam. And we are off. So the packs are engaging, trying to create a front wall that Montreal won't be able to get past. Lexi Cutter, the jammer for Minnesota, is out of the box. What we have jamming is Motley Crude for the New Skids. Motley's in the center and is getting jammed up. Both skaters are trying the inside and the outside back and forth, but can't seem to find a lane. Right now, they nearly pushed Motley Crue out, but they kept their balance. They're trying to get to the front. They got it around, but they reformed a three-wall just when Motley Crue thought they was out. Meanwhile, Lexi Cutter's in the back. She had some time to rest on the bench in the box, but they're still holding her up. As we're coming from turn 1 to turn 2, we still don't have a lead jammer, just like last jam. These are tough defenses. Strong female character reminding them to keep the pack together, and that lets Crude out. So you have your lead jammer for the second time in a row, the Montreal New Skids on the Black, lead jammer. But there was a star pass, and so now they're going to be right on the heels of Motley Crue. She's going to have to cook up a couple of quick points and then call it. Mad Libs coming around turn 2, forcing Crue to call it. And after a couple of points, literally 2, It's 5-0 Montreal to Minnesota. All right, we're going to see some new jammers coming for both teams. For Montreal, we're going to have 103, MX Merrick, and then we will get you the jammer from Minnesota so that we can see them closely. So jamming for Minnesota, I believe, is Centripetal Force. MX Merrick immediately out of the pack, coming around turn 4. They're going to be scoring right at the starting block. Minnesota's getting cycled to the back. Centrifugal Force can't seem to get the force up to get through that pack. Meanwhile, MX Merrick is pushing at the front line, looking to pick up points, getting jailbroke by Cheese Grater, getting to the knees, getting back up, still battling. Whoopsie Daisy says you ain't going nowhere, but is able to find the outside track around, picking up 4 points, coming around turn 4 for more. Meanwhile, there was the start pass to Whoopsie Daisy. Whoopsie Daisy is fighting shoulder to shoulder to get out of that pack. They know they got to get out of that pack and put some pressure on MX Merrick to stop the scoring. But they are not letting Whoopsie Daisy out of that pack. Merrick's trying that inside line. Everybody overcompensates, so they try the outside, but they shut it down on them. Still jammed up. Meanwhile, Whoopsie Daisy is twisting and turning, can't seem to find the window, so hasn't been able to get out of the pack. This is allowing MX Merrick to continue to score. Picked up some more points. We got 44 seconds left in the jam, and they are looking for more points. Whoopsie Daisy still blocked up. Has to go to the back of the pack. Will at least have time to put the star on. But unfortunately, Whoopsie hasn't been able to get out of that pack. Merrick in the front, kind of bobbing and weaving, but getting held up here and there. Pushing the front 2 blockers. Going to have to get released here in a moment as they are pushing Whoopsie Daisy all the way back to turn 2. Still not able to get out of that initial pass. Coming to the last 10 seconds. MX Merrick is looking to see, yep, sure enough, puts up a couple of more points. Really a big jam from MX over here. Meanwhile, Whoopsie down, and that's the end of the jam. Huge jam for Montreal, 12 points. It's 17-0 in favor of Montreal. All right, so we got jam number 4 coming up here. Right away, Montreal stepping up to the very front, pushing and pulling, getting bodied up shoulder to shoulder. I mean, furious action here at the front of the pack. They got jailbroke for a second, but Minnesota is able to reform around the jammer. In the back of the line, Minnesota's jammer is getting pushed out the inside of the track, down on the floor, about to get back up. Mermad for the jammer for Montreal is twisting and turning, trying to figure out where that daylight is. We have the first lead jammer for Minnesota. The crowd goes wild. Minnesota coming around with lead jammer status. Childish Gambino. Ooh, down on the outside of the track. Looking to see if they should call it. They're saying, yeah, now that Montreal's out of the pack, call it. So, Minnesota finally gets on the board with lead jammer and is able to pick up 3 points. So 17-3 in favor of the Montreal. New skids on the block. All right, so for the 5th jam, we're going to see why Bro Citrus jamming again for Montreal. And we're going to see Lefts for Dead, new jammer for Minnesota. Minnesota's looking to see if they can start getting some lead jammer statuses here. They have only gotten 1 so far in the jam. All right. Bro Citrus pushing hard, gets let go. Bro Citrus is your lead jammer. She's out and around turn 3, coming into turn 4. Meanwhile, Lefts for Dead is looking to make a pass. She has been unable to, so keep it in her hand. That's more points for White Bro Citrus coming around turn 3. As we go from turn 1 to turn 2, the left has got the star in the hand, but hasn't been able to make a pass. Left's for dead on the ground, getting back up and re-engaging with the defense. One of the defense persons going to have to go to the box. Lau Ryder going to the box. Here comes White Bro Citrus, taking her time around the track. Definitely want to score points, but also eating that clock up. There was the star pass. They're not calling it until... wow, that was a really great move from Prim Reaper. Able to kind of swing those hips around. They're not going to give the point, but still... that was really good because she only swung her hips around the jammer, and they don't give you jammer points no more. They used to, but they don't do that no more. So 26-3 is your score in favor of Montreal after another good jam from White Bro Citrus. Miley Cruz back on the line for Montreal, and Boo Boo is skating for the first time for the Minnesota All-Stars. Hey, Boo Boo. Trying that inside track, nothing's there. Trying that outside track, nothing's there. Right up the center, just decided, let me push with my shoulders. Go get him, Boo-Boo. Meanwhile, Motley Crue got forced out of bounds, got all the way back to turn 4 and is re-engaging. There you go, Minnesota. You got yourself a lead jammer. Hey, Boo-Boo. Coming around turn 4. Here comes the star pass. That's the 999. Is that Kaboom or is that 9999? Oh, it's Munch. Eat my shorts. 9999. So they're coming around the star pass, engaging. That forces Boo Boo to call it off. Minnesota says they got some points. New Skids is begging for some points, but all they're going to do is give a point to Minnesota, make it 26-4, and we're going to have an official timeout here. During this action-packed stoppage of play, we're just going to remind everybody of our sponsors. What we want to say is thank you to 888, 187 Killer Pads, Bruised Boutique, Skate Good Club, and Union Square Spinal Care. Thank you so much to the sponsors of the tournament this weekend. And thank you all for tuning in, especially on a work day. Officials talking some things over. As soon as we get word from them, we'll give yous all a heads up. All right, the officials still talking. There's some smiles on their faces. I think they're coming to an agreement. We should have some answers for you in a few minutes. So far, what we've seen in this bout is Montreal doing a great job of jumping out front, getting lead jammer status, of having lead jammer status for almost all the jams except for, I think, 2, if I'm remembering correctly. Their jammers are very tough. They keep their shoulders down. They push the pack. You know, they got no conscience up in Montreal, apparently. Minnesota is doing a great job with their defense. They just got to, the jammers just got to find that daylight, get out a little bit earlier to get a little bit more of a chance to get lead jammer status. All right, official review all over. They're going to keep the points where they are. And we're going to get ready for our next jam. All right, and so we are off. Montreal trying the inside. Minnesota to the front of the pack on the outside. This jam's developing a little bit slower than the last couple, but we're still going. Montreal's doing a great job of jamming that Minnesota skater up, but she finds the inside track. Lexi Cutter, your lead jammer. Lexi, she is around that track. Meanwhile, Montreal is looking for a star pass, hasn't made it, but's got the star in the hand. 5, 6, 7, 8. It's Gruesome Gracie. She's still in the middle of the pack. Hasn't made the star pass yet. Meanwhile, Lexi, the lead jammer, is jammed up in the very center between turns 2 and 3. Gracie's coming to the back, putting the hand up, trying to get the attention of Trax to make the star pass. But Trax got to keep the pack together. Can't get back there and grab the star yet. In the meantime, Lexi is in the front of the pack pushing. They're going to have to let Lexi go here in a minute. If she can push it a little further, sure enough, she gets let go. Scoring pass for Minnesota. All right, Minnesota, you got 44 seconds. Can you make a big jam out of this? They are going to call a few penalties on Montreal. Multiple people heading to the box. There was a star pass to Trex, and they're calling Gracie to go to the box, but that was post-star pass? No. Not post-star pass. So Gracie got called for the penalty before it made the star pass. So they got 3 people in the box for Montreal, including their jammer. That was a great jam from Minnesota. They picked up 6 points, it looks like. 7 points, matter of fact. It's 26-11. Oh, getting a little bit closer. And they get to start this jam with Gracie, the jammer for Montreal, in the box. All right, so let's see what they got at the back. Because it's a smaller pack, they're at the front. Montreal wants to put a little speed on it. All right, so here comes Minnesota. Centrifugal force is coming around. She is engaging with the pack already by turn 3. There's a much faster bout because of the fact that so many were in the box. Centrifugal is able to tiptoe around the outside of the line in the starting box, and it's getting around, scoring points. More Montreal's jammer. Ibaka's going to the box. Whoa, jumping and pirouetting. Centrifugal force coming around turn 3, scoring points. Well, this gets the jammer out of the box. So Gruesome Gracie is out of the box, has the star in her hand. Let's see if she's going to make the pass. Meanwhile, Minnesota is still racking up points. They are closing gaps quickly here. What more can they do? They still got over a minute left in the jam. So, centrifugal force getting pulled down by the pivot. Pivot's going to go to the box for pulling her down. That's going to let, yet again, they're going to get to Wow, still hasn't gotten to the box. All right, finally. Monch finally hears it, gets to the box. They held up centrifugal force there a little bit. That was a little, I don't know about that one because she could have been out there skating and scoring points. Meanwhile, here comes Gruesome Gracie. That's going to call him. Oh, that delayed penalty to the box sucked for Minnesota because Monch got back there and started bodying up the jammer when Monch should have been in the box the whole time. Anyway, I'm a little editorializing there for a minute. At the end of the day, Minnesota did a great job picking up points. It is 26-23. So what once was a very large lead has become very small. There's going to be a timeout here, folks. Montreal wants to talk it over because they're getting a lot of penalties, a lot of people getting sent to the box, and because of that, they just lost their big lead. Meanwhile, Minnesota's feeling good. Centrifugal force able to give them a really great push there. Lots of points, racking up lots of points on that one. 12 in that jam, largest for Minnesota so far in this bout. Really good adjustments made by Minnesota after that official timeout. But at the same time, you got to admit, part of the problem is Montreal hasn't been staying out of that box, right? Too many penalties. I don't know how they do it north of the border, but maybe the refs are a little bit weaker-eyed up there, so they're not used to all these penalty calls. The refs are calling a tight game down here. So both teams got their crews out there. Each team is down a blocker for Montreal. That's their pivot sitting in the box. What we're going to see coming up here is another great bout. All right, who do we got coming up here? Here we go. Minnesota's trying the inside. They got number 35 out there, Childish Gambino. Meanwhile, Wybro Citrus is getting called for a forearm to go to the box, shaking their head, saying, no, I don't agree with that. Oof, this is really changing the tone. Childish Gambino able to get around, doing a whip it on the inside, lead jammer coming around. Monch is out of the box as the pivot. Here comes Childish Gambino, trying the inside track again. It works, tiptoeing through the tulips. Here comes Childish Gambino around turn 3. Ooh, Minnesota's about to lose their pivot with Whoopsie Daisy going to the box. Right now, Wybro Citrus, the jammer for Montreal, is up and ready to get back in the game in just a moment. Meanwhile, Childish Gambino tried that same inside tiptoe, but didn't work this time. Gets cycled to the back. They're going to have some time because, remember, with Montreal starting the jammer in the box, Montreal got to go through the pack at least once before they could score, right? So for Minnesota, they ain't no rush to call it. Montreal pulling Childish Gambino all the way back to turn 3 to try to exaggerate the timeline here. Childish Gambino loves the inside of that track, but just can't make the tiptoe work. Cheese Grater pulling her all the way back toward turn 2. Here comes the pivot, whoopsie daisy. Maybe she could jailbreak. It's not going to work. So here comes White Bro Citrus around. Oh no, just when she could have called it, she got called for pushing Childish Gambino going to the box. So we're going to go our full 2 minutes. There's no more lead jammers here. We got a little bit less than 30 seconds. And now, just when Minnesota took the lead, they're giving it right back to Montreal as they're coming around to score. White Bro Citrus trying a little bit of hooky-dooky moves and is able to get around, bodying up with Whoopsie. Gets around Whoopsie, is pushing up to the front, around turn 1, gets left through, and just like that, as we get to the final 5 seconds of the jam, Montreal has recaptured the lead despite their penalty issues. Coming around, and that's going to be this jam, allowing Montreal to pick up 8 more points. Unfortunately, Minnesota is not able to hold on to the lead after they captured it during jam. 34-30 in favor of the Montreal New Skids on the block. They got the right stuff, baby. All right, they'll be jamming again. MX Emmerich for the Montreal Roller Derby here. And I think it's centrifugal if I can see it from back here. I'm not 100% sure. No, it's not centrifugal. Who is it? It's Lefts for Dead. She's the one jamming for Minnesota. All right, on the inside, get forced out. Mon just pulling him back to turn 1. Meanwhile, MX is bodying up, gets their way around, and they are around turn 2 into turn 3. They're looking to pad the lead. Whoa. Call off. So just when you thought Montreal was going to break it off, they had to call that jam off. So we're stuck at 1 point lead, 34-33. Minnesota able to pick up a few points. All right, so here we go. We're going to reset for the next jam. Motley Crue is jamming for Montreal. Boo Boo is jamming for Minnesota. Montreal clinging to a 1 point lead. Boo Boo right up the center on the inside. Doesn't like it. Gonna cycle back into the center. Ooh, they got Boo Boo on the knees. Meanwhile, Crude is just pushing the 3-wall like Sisyphus pushing a rock up the hill. Just pushing. They had to cycle Boo Boo to the back. Nobody's able to get out past turn 1. Motley Crue, they love engaging with the shoulders, it looks like. Oh, able to whip their way through. And there you go. You got your lead jammer, Motley Crue. I think they was playing possum a little bit, pretending they was just going to use brute force. Because then, like that, with speed through the pack. Here comes Motley Crue to score. Whoopsie's got them bodied up. They're on the inside. They're almost out. No, stayed in bounds. Now they're back to the outside and right down the center. Taking a moment to reconnect. Trax, who's acting as the pivot, trying to jailbreak them. Meanwhile, all the way in the back have been this Boo Boo. Took the star off, but never made the pass. Now, there you go. Made the pass to Whoopsie Daisy. Whoopsie Daisy's going to try to get out of that track. Meanwhile, here comes Motley Crue engaging. Grim Reaper able to push them out. Back engaged, but can't get through the wall. Whoopsie Daisy out through turn 4. That's going to put the pressure on Motley Crue to call it here in a second. Motley Crue makes sure that gets the hips around and then calls it. Not the biggest jam in the world, but a solid jam to pad that lead. 41-33 in favor of Montreal. We're coming up on 10 minutes left in the bout, first half of the bout. All right, MX Emmerich is back up jamming versus Lexi Cutter. These two have done a lot of jams so far in this first half. MX pushing the front of the pack, turning the feet, tap dancing like Sammy Davis Jr., gets pushed down, is going to cycle back toward the rear. Meanwhile, Lexi hasn't found the lane she's looking for, being cautious, now sees what she thinks is a good opening and powers through, but gets stopped short. And there you go, MX, they're through. There you lead jammer once again. MX coming around turn 4. Meanwhile, pulling them back to turn 1, Lexi is trying to re-engage on the track, hasn't been able to get through. The star is out, but the pass has not yet been made. They tried it, but it was denied. MX is through. They're scoring points. They're coming around to engage again. Will the star pass be made? No, because Madlibs had to go engage in blocking. Madlibs picks the star, gets through. No, gets bodied up by Manj. That slows him down. But Madlibs, she's able to get out. She's getting around the track. All right, MX, they're still going around. They're looking to call it, looking at the refs like, hey, I'm calling it over here. So they called it after picking up a number of points. Right now, they're going to give 8 in total to MX to make it 49-33. So just like that, the lead back up. All right, so this has been a very eventful first half so far. As we go to begin our next jam with Y Bro Citrus jamming for Montreal, and we'll let you know who's jamming for Minnesota in just a second. Lucky 13 here in the Halloween season, jam number 13. Let's see who gets lucky. Whoa, Y Bro Citrus skating through on the corners there. She's out and around turn 4, getting ready to score. Meanwhile, here we go. We see who the jammer is. It's Centrifugal Force. She's coming around, trying to engage. That's going to force Bro to call it. Y Bro Citrus calls it. So just picks up a quick 4. Makes it 53-33. Montreal able to get that lead back up. So after a brief period of Minnesota taking advantage of the penalties that Montreal was racking up, Montreal gets back to doing what they do, getting the lead jammer status quickly, and is able to pad that lead back up. All right, so we begin jam 14. Childish Gambino is the jammer for Minnesota, and Motley Crue is the jammer for the Montreal. So Motley Crue, they are trying in the inside and are getting forced back to the outside. Now back to the inside. They are pushing Motley Crue back and forth, but they are looking to break through. Meanwhile, Childish Gambino gets cycled to the back. She's been unable to get through. There they go. Motley Crue skating in the bathroom. They are your lead jammer. Once again, the star has been taken off but has not been passed by Childish Gambino. Ooh, pushed to the ground, unable to make the star pass to Madlibs. In the back of the pack, skating their ways in and out, is Motley Crue. They got Motley bodied up. They're going to have to skate around toward the back. They're going to have to let... Oh, the start pass was done to Madlibs. Madlibs on the ground trying to get up. They're going to have to let him go in just a minute. Felt like the refs really let it go for a while there. Madlibs, frustrated, taking a time getting back up. They're saying Madlibs is... Okay, I thought for a second they were saying cut the track. Now, never mind about that. But Manj got called for a penalty. The pivot for Montreal. So they're back in the box. Here comes Madlibs as the star pass was done. And that forces Motley Crue to call it. That was a messy jam on that one. Very messy. Overall, few points for Montreal. It's 57-33. I can tell you Minnesota is very frustrated. They feel like Montreal's getting away with some calls here. But at the same time, Montreal is looking at it like, hey, just because we exist doesn't mean you got to blow the whistle on us, right? So both teams got some opinions here when it comes to how the officials going. I'm not talking officially. I'm just saying based on body language and facial expressions. You understand what I'm saying? So we got a timeout here. Who's calling the timeout? Oh, it's an official review. Okay. They want to talk some things over. I told you it was a mess. I told you that was a messy jam. They was gonna need to talk some things over because a lot was going on there. This dead silence has come over the crowd. Everyone wants to know what's gonna go on with this one. We'll give you an update shortly. So we got the results of the official review. Montreal was not happy with the out-of-bounds block called against Monge that put the pivot in the block, but 3 officials were able to confirm that out-of-bounds block. So Monge will start the next bout, or the next jam, I should say, in the box, along with one other of the blockers for Montreal. That puts MX out there on their own with only 2 blockers to start the jam. And who will they be jamming against? We'll tell you in just a moment. Oh, it's 3-3-3, lefts for dead. So she is going to be at the front of the pack right now, engaging, trying to push the only 2 blockers that are there, getting some help from her blockers to break it up, trying to see if they can get out of turn 1. Unfortunately, Minnesota is not able to. Ooh, falls on the floor, but is able to get up, recover. No, they're going to call it cut the track. They were supposed to go backwards, but didn't. So that's going to give MX an opportunity to get to the front, bodying up, pushing. Nope, hasn't been able to be let go yet. Well, there you go. They have to let them go. So there they go around turn 4. Another lead jammer status for the Montreal News Kids on the block. Coming around, engaging in turn 2. Able to skate around one side and skate around the other. Finding that inside lane. And then engaging in the middle as they have to push. Minnesota was trying to reform around but is unable to. Here comes Les for Dead out of the box. Ooh, like a bowling ball. A few pins get dropped there. Meanwhile, MX is around turn 3 trying to get out. They've done a good job of slowing MX down. Les for Dead trying to see if they can find a daylight. They got 4 blockers that they're going up against. It's going to be hard for her. Les for Dead engaging the pack. Still isn't able to get into turn 3. Meanwhile, coming around turn 4. And they have to let MX go. MX coming out. Ooh, MX got the hand on the leg. Little. They're a little bit unstable there for a second. Not sure if they're nursing an injury or if they're just taking their time. Once again, Les for Dead gets called for a penalty and is going to the box. Oh, just every time Minnesota looks like they got a shot, unfortunately, they're just not able to take advantage of it at this time. Montreal able to pad the lead. It's 64-33 in favor of Montreal. We got under 3 minutes left here in the first half. Montreal will start on their own, sending Wybro Citrus because Lefts for Dead has to start in the box. Wybro Citrus trying that outside, not finding what they want. She's going to get around and out and start scoring in just a moment. Wybro Citrus tiptoeing on the inside of turn 4. Pushing up against in the box, in the starting box, and right out. There you go, Wybro Citrus scoring some points. They're going to let Prim Reaper out of the box so Minnesota gets one of their blockers back, and they're going to get Lefts for Dead out of the box so they have a jammer. Right now, Wybro Citrus saying, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep scoring points because Lefts hasn't gotten out of the pack for their first time. Engaging, banging, getting, oh, a high hit there. Oh, that's going to send Wybro Citrus to the box. That's going to mean we're going to have to go for the rest of the whole jam, which is a little bit over a minute left. This gives Minnesota a chance. Maybe they can get out of this pack, score some points, tighten this lead. It's 72-33 so far in favor of the Skids. Unfortunately, right now, Lefts isn't able to find any daylight. In the very center of the pack, can't see what they're looking for. Oh, they made the pass. It's a star pass. It's a star pass. So, with that, Minnesota is able to get out of the pack with that star pass and come around the track. It's number 1128, Boysenberry Pie, slicing through the pack, serving up a hot one. Ooh, balancing, isn't able to keep their balance, so they have to come around to the back. Boysenberry, she's going to start engaging again at turn 4. Meanwhile, Wybro Citrus is out of the pack and coming all the way from turn 3 to re-engage. We got 10 seconds left in the jam. No one can call it off. Let's see what we can do in the last 10 seconds. Here we go. And White Bros Citrus able to pick up some more points. Wow, what a jam out of White Bros Citrus. Even when she had to go to the box, she's still able to pick up a lot of points when she gets back out. Really great jam. Minnesota was able to pick up some points themselves. So what we're going to be at right now is 76-37 as we head toward what will be possibly the last jam, or if we're running out of time, unless somebody calls a timeout, I think we're going to have to right here, right at the edge. Are they going to give us one more jam, or because that's the end of the half? No, they didn't. They didn't get that jam off. Nobody called the time. Oh, they're going to say, nah, we're going to. No, strong female character saying, nah, no more times left. No more times left in this half. So it looked like they might have let him start. You know, it's kind of like when you look at the clock and it says 00 and you look up and has the quarterback snap the football. It's one of those where they're looking up and say, hey, it was a 00. Can't we just start? But no, the officials telling them, no, can't start another jam. That was the first half. So to end the first half, Montreal 76, Minnesota 37. What we saw in that first half is a really dominating performance out of Montreal when it comes to gaining lead jammer status and racking up points, multiple turns around, multiple scoring passes is what I'm trying to say. But the issue with Montreal, they've been going to the box. They got to keep themselves out of that box because every time they've gone to the box, they've given Minnesota a chance, and Minnesota has been able to capitalize on a few of those chances to keep the game close. 76-37. We're going to take a little bit less than a 15-minute break here now. We'll be back with you in a few to talk about that second half. All right, are you ready for the second half of some roller derby here? Both teams coming to the track. Minnesota cheering themselves on, trying to get that energy up. They know they got to come out swinging in this second half. To do so, it looks like we're going to have for Montreal White Bros Citrus, and she's going to be jamming up against Childish Gambino. These two were the ones who most consistently got lead jammer status when they were jamming for their respective teams. We got some fans cheering in the background. We got a great crowd here for Friday. And as we wind down, we're going to hear our first whistle starting here in just a second to start our second half of the bout. Officials getting ready, skaters in place, and the next 5 seconds, the bout will begin. And starts our second half of roller derby. Childish Gambino tried the inside but pushed to the outside and is trying to work their way back to the inside. Meanwhile, Citrus is on the inside. She's been pushed out and been cycled back in. She's still pushing on that inside of the track. Whoopsie closing the inside out for her. Childish Gambino was able to sneak through the outside and get around. Tracks through her hips to slow her down, but that's not going to throw Childish Gambino down. Childish Gambino, first lead jam for the day of the half, I should say, for Minnesota. Unable to complete the apex jump, so is cycling to the back. Meanwhile, White Bros Citrus gets called for a penalty yet again. White Bros Citrus will sit this out. So, even though she got cycled all the way to turn 4, Childish Gambino has the floor all to herself. She's able to weave her way through that pack, pick up some points, and come around to turn 3. White Bros Citrus standing up in the box, getting ready to come in. You can see White Bros Citrus is very unhappy with the penalty call, and they are released from the box. She's going to enter the track as she gets toward turn 3. Meanwhile, Childish Gambino gets cycled to the back yet again, but pushing through. Whoopsie Daisy's in the back to engage with White Bros Citrus. White Bros Citrus quickly through to the front, pushing. She wants to get out of the pack as soon as possible and force Minnesota to call it. But Minnesota is able to force her out and cycle her back on the inside. Meanwhile, Childish Gambino has been slowed down. Whoopsie is trying to break her out, and she's able to get to that outside, tiptoed the outside, and kept her balance, picked up her points, and called it. What a really great way to start the second half for Minnesota. Get lead jammer, have some time to yourself on the track, pick up some points. It's 76-45. Good start for the Minnesota All-Stars. We got a clean box, which means we got all our skaters out on the track. Coming up for Minnesota to jam is Boo Boo. Boo Boo, snake into the inside. Meanwhile, Motley Crue, they are on the outside, and they are jamming. Motley tried the inside. They got pushed to the back. Boo Boo is in the center, trying to find some daylight, but gets stopped up by Maj. There goes Motley Crue, tiptoeing the outside, but gets popped and they have to go to the back of the pack. Great job from Mad Libs. So far, Boo Boo has been unable to get out of the pack, but is still in the front because they got to put Crude all the way to the back. Good back and forth between both teams. Both packs tightening up after that initial jam. This jam number 2 of the second half, a little bit slower. Boo Boo trying to crab walk her way through, unable to. Manj bodies Boo Boo up. Manj kept him in, now formed a 3-wall with her other 2 blockers, and that brings Boo Boo to her knees. In the back of the pack, Crude has been unable to find any daylight. They're still back there smoking in the back room. Here comes Boo Boo, pushed out on the outside. That's going to be a penalty for one of the blockers from Montreal. Minnesota trying their best, but unable to find daylight. Meanwhile, Motley Crue has been able to find anything. Ever since they forced her out as they were tiptoeing, they haven't been able to find anything to work for them. Boo Boo trying to get small. Manj and Bigley keeping Boo Boo on their feet, not allowing them through any pass. Meanwhile, Motley Crue, they're still in the back. They're getting shut down by a really strong 3-wall from Minnesota with the pivot Mad Libs as the centerpiece there. Ooh, Boo Boo finds the outside. Hey, Boo Boo coming around turn 3, coming around turn 4, getting ready to score. But it took so long. The whole 2 minutes was up, folks. What a crazy jam. We never got past turn 1 in 2 minutes. Oh, Maron. Okay. Crazy jam. It's still 76-45. MX Merrick, they're going to jam for Minnesota. And Lexi Cutter, she's going to jam for Minnesota. So Montreal jammer, MX, trying that outside. Lexi tiptoeing on the inside. Quick feet, quick around that track. Another lead jammer for Minnesota, making those second half adjustments. Now, meanwhile, MX, they're able to get out. They're going to come around and put some pressure on Lexi, make her call it. Lexi's trying to find the hips around, realizes MX is hot on the heels, is able to pick up some points, and then call it. So, after picking up a couple of quick 2 points, no, they're going to adjust it to 3 points. Minnesota has tightened this lead. It is 76 for Montreal, 48 for Minnesota. All right, so White Bro Citrus is going to get back out there to re-jam for Montreal. Centripetal Force making her first debut of the second half as jammer, having jammed multiple times in the first half. All right, so Centripetal gets pulled back. Citrus battling out there like a wild animal, pushing, dropping down, elbowing, not illegally, getting through that pack. Great job from Wybro Citrus. She's coming around turn 4. She's ready to score. Engaging with the pack. Meanwhile, Centripetal lost balance, had almost cut the track, so has to go back around to avoid the cut the track penalty. Unable to get out of that pack to begin. Meanwhile, Wybro Citrus pushing through turn 1, engaged with a big, tough tri-wall, and is unable to find their way out. So, she's going to take a little slow skate around the outside to get to the back of the pack. The star pass has been made for Minnesota. Minnesota has passed it to Mad Libs. Mad Libs is getting bodied up and is trying to find their way out. Unable to do so, allowing Wybro Citrus to find the inside lane around turn 2, sneak right through, score some points. Mad Libs still trying to figure out how to get out of this pack. Bigly waving to Wybro, try the outside, but unfortunately that got cut off very quickly by Minnesota. So Wybro Citrus is back at the back of the pack engaging, and Mad Libs is at the front, unable to get out of this pack. As we come up to the final 15 seconds of this jam, Mad Libs is still unable to get out to make the initial pass, allowing Wybro Citrus to continue to score. And through the pack yet again, Wybro Citrus pulling up 4 more points. We have an 84-48 lead in favor of Montreal. So just when Minnesota started to tighten things up, Montreal goes out there and has a hell of a jam. Puts that lead right back up again. Wybro Citrus really doing what she does best out there, getting lead jammer status and dominating. So Minnesota's going to send Childish Gambino back out there to see if she can reclaim a lead jammer status. She's at the front. She tips her on the inside. She's lead jammer. She's around turn 2. Minnesota with lead jammer status. It's been a little bit more even with lead jammer statuses in the second half, but not with points. In the meantime, what we got jamming for Montreal is Mermad. And Mermad is at the front of the pack, but has been unable, I should say, to get out. She's trying her best, but they have a tough tri-wall with the pivot right there to keep things tight, and Mermad is going nowhere. Childish Gambino engaging the pack, got pushed to the back, tried a quick end line on the inside, but got re-pushed to the back. Childish Gambino coming back around, looking to score some points, but unable to get through during the scoring pass yet. Thankfully, her defense has held up Mermad. They're trying to jailbreak Mermad from Trask here. Trask is able to break that 3-wall up, but Whoopsie Daisy slowing down Mermad. They're going to have to let Mermad go, so Mermad's officially out of the pack for their first round. This is going to put the pressure on Childish Gambino. Childish is going to have to pay attention and call it. Yep, sure enough, there she does. They're going to give Childish Gambino the 4 points she earned because she kept going back and forth with all those skaters. But unfortunately, and this is what I'm saying, folks, in this second half, Minnesota has been doing a better job of getting lead jammer status. But they're getting 4, 5, 6 points a jam. Meanwhile, when Montreal gets the lead jammer status, they're putting up 8, 12 points a jam. You understand what I'm saying? That's the difference here. It's the big jams, the big jams. All right, MX Merrick is back out there. They're going to be jamming for Montreal. And Lefts for Dead makes her debut of the second half. MX Merrick through. MX Merrick is your lead jammer for Montreal and is engaging. There was the star pass. The star pass has been made to Poisonberry. Poisonberry, she's making her way around. That's going to force Merrick to pick up 4 quick points and call it immediately. It's 88-52 in favor of Montreal. So, just when Montreal was racking up all those points, Minnesota was able to slow them down there for a minute. So that's a positive thing there. We have an official timeout as they want to go over some of the finer points here. When we get back, it looks like Minnesota's going to send Boo Boo out there to jam for them. And it looks like Motley Crude, they're going to be jamming for Montreal when we get back to the action. All right. So, officials say everything's in order. We're going to get ready to start our next jam. Jam number 6 of the half. All right, so Boo Boo in the back. Motley Crue, they're already pushing toward the front of the pack. Bodying up a tri-wall. Digging deep with their knees. Able to make some room. One of the Minnesota blockers is going to the box. That's going to free up Motley Crue, and they are your lead jammer. Meanwhile, Boo Boo down to the knees, unable to get through for that initial pass. Motley Crue finds a wide open lane on the outside as they go through the starting box. picking up their 4 points. They're doing a great job on this particular jam. Finds the inside line. You heard the bench from Minnesota shouting, jammer, 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 but none of the blockers were able to pick them up. There was a star pass. Prim Reaper has the star now. Prim is going to try to get out of the pack. While she's doing that, Motley Crue is coming around. Call them Dr. Feelgood, the way they are racking up points here. Motley Crue engaging again, gets hit, stays on their feet, spins around, picks up another 4 points. This is a monster jam from Motley Crue. Meanwhile, Prim has been unable to get out of the initial pass, having been given the star. So there's no impetus for Montreal to call it. 30 seconds left in the jam. Montreal is going to want every inch of those 30 seconds to score points in. Prim trying that inside. It gets closed down. Weavin is bodying up on one blocker. That's going to probably allow Prim to get out close, but no, that blocker slows Prim down just enough. Prim does make her way out on the inside, coming around. And just like that, the jam is over. It took the entire time for Minnesota to get out, allowing Montreal to rack up a huge jam, double-digit jam. It is 112 to 52 in favor of Montreal, doing exactly what they want to do. Not only get lead jammer status, but have the big jams. And we are off with a 112 to 52 score. Montreal has a big, big advantage. They're sending their big guns out there. Wybro Citrus. Wybro Citrus, a monster jammer so far in this bout, right at the front of the pack. Meanwhile, Minnesota, they're looking to get lead jammer status for the first time in a little while. So they have sent Lexi Cutter back out there. She's pushing. She's forcing her way as much as she can, but has been slowed down. Neither jammer has been able to get out of the pack yet. We're at turn 2. Both packs are really stacked up. Lexi Cutter coming around and is forced all the way to the back. That was Wybro Citrus. That gives Lexi Cutter the inside line. Lexi Cutter out. Minnesota gets lead jammer status. Minnesota looking to put some points on. Meanwhile, Lexi coming around, engaging the pack, scoring. Wybro Citrus not able to get out of the pack. Lexi got cycled back around, is engaging with the blockers. There was the star pass. The star pass has been made. Monge is coming around with the star. That's going to force Lexi to call it. No, Lexi decides not to call it. All right. Lexi says, we need points here. Time doesn't matter. We just need a big jam to get it closer to start with. All right, so Lexi letting it go. That makes Monge score some points. Ooh, strategery. That's going to force Lexi to call it. I don't know. If I was them, I would have called it before Monge got able to score any points, because at the end of the day, both crews just scored 4 points. So it's 116 to 56. It's still a 60-point advantage in favor of Montreal. Interesting, bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. So, coming to the jam line, MX Merrick is going to be jamming for Montreal. And Centripetal Force is jamming for Minnesota. Trying that inside line, MX gets cycled to the outside. MX bodying up Whoopsie. Whoopsie tried to force MX out, but was unable to. But even though MX got lead jammer, right on their heels is Centripetal Force. It's a horse race. Giddy up. Oh, Centripetal able to make MX call it, so nobody picked up any points. That's a good job from Centripetal, being able to force the hand of Montreal to call off that jam. So we will reset. Motley Crue, Childish Gambino. Let's see who's going to get lead jammer on this jam. This is a pivotal jam for Minnesota. If they're going to make a comeback, they're going to have to start right now. So Childish Gambino starting that inside track that she loves, but they have forced her to the outside. She's on her knees on the outside and is getting cycled all the way back. Meanwhile, Motley Crue, they have been bodied up, stonewalled in the center, and they've been forced out on the inside. They're going to cycle back around. Both of the packs are doing a great job against these jammers, forcing them out, cycling them back. While all that's going on, Motley Crue, they're able to find some daylight. They get through. They're going to get ready to score. There was a star pass to Mad Libs. Mad Libs gets cycled around. Mad Libs spinning like a whirling dervish, unable to find any daylight. In the back of the pack is Motley Crue. They are engaged, but they are not able to get through. Ooh. Mad Libs got low, but on getting up was called for the headbutt against Maj. So, Minnesota's got their jammer in the box. Motley Crue's all out there on their own, ready to rack up points. So, as the official takes a small tumble, he's all right. Motley Crue, they're coming around. They're engaging in the pack. Slips on the inside, slips through the center. Dougie's trying to slow him up. Crue says, let me call it. I picked up the points, and now we could start with a power jam because the other jammer's still in the box. That's smart strategy from Montreal. It's 124 to 56 in favor of the new skids on the block. This is going to put Wybro Citrus out there all by her lonesome to jam, to start this next jam. And this is where the new skids can break it right open. A big jam out of this, I think, will really put them in firm control. I know you're saying 124 to 56. Isn't that a big enough lead already? Roller derby, you could 70 points can happen in 3 jams. So there goes Wybro Citrus on the outside. Is able to keep, is pushed outside, but was able to stay without cutting the track. Good job. Not the lead jammer, though. Not the lead jammer. Just has to pass again. So, Citrus is trying to get through that pack again. Mad Lib says, I don't need a pivot because I'm the jammer here. Holding the star in her hand, hasn't been able to put it on her head yet. Mad Libs is pushing, unable to get through. Whoopsie is trying to break her out. That allows Wybro Citrus to get through. Not the lead jammer, but still picking up points. Wybro Citrus coming around. Minnesota trying to keep their eye on Wybro Citrus, trying to slow it down because Mad Libs is spinning and turning and trying to see where that window is. How can I get through? Unable to, makes the star pass to Whoopsie Daisy. Whoopsie Daisy coming around is going to start to be able to score some points, maybe even things up here a little bit. Whoopsie, very good. Tiptoeing on the inside of turn 3. Gets through for some points. Wybro Citrus is batting up. There's no lead jammer here, so we're just going to go the full 2 minutes, which we got 35 seconds left. Whoopsie Daisy gets forced out of bounds, so Whoopsie is being cycled to the back by Traz. Meanwhile, Wybro Citrus racking those points up. This is what I tell you, this is one of those back-baking kind of jams. But thankfully, Minnesota's been able to pick up some points themselves to at least keep it within range during this particular jam. We got 12 seconds left in the jam clock. Both jammers have been slowed down. We might have seen the last of our action for this particular jam as we approach 5 seconds. Oh, Wybro Citrus able to tiptoe that outside, pick up 4 more points. That was a really huge jam from the new skids. Although, to their credit, they was able to, Minnesota was able to kind of get out there and tighten it up. All right, so we're starting our next bout here. Mermad is back for new skids. Mermad out right away. Mermad lead jammer status. As she gets around turn 4, Lexi Cutter taking the star off but hasn't made the pass and is still looking to get out of that pack. Mermad through. She's scoring points. They're padding their lead. It's 144 to 64. Big lead for the new skids on the block. Meanwhile, for Lexi Cutter, she's made the star pass. hands it off quickly, but unfortunately, it's not good. It's not enough. Poisonberry, who has the star now, gets cycled to the back, and Mermad is getting around that track. Mermad going for her third scoring pass with Poisonberry. She's still trying to get out for the initial pass. Poisonberry stuck in the back of that pack, getting cycled back around. Mermad cycling through, trying to get out for a third score, but has been slowed down. Both jammers slowing down as defense is tightened up, but Mermad at the front of the pack feels like she might be able to find some daylight. Gets slowed down, but gets a jailbreak from Bigley, and there goes Mermad. Another 4 points for Mermad. Minnesota been unable to get out of that pack, so they are still trying to get through. There they go. And at this point, they're just playing defense. Poisonberry isn't trying to get around the track. It's just trying to help slow down Mermad, even though she has the star. That's frustration speaking, folks. When Poisonberry finally gets out of that pack with about 10 seconds left, and she turns around and starts throwing shoulders against Mermad, that's Minnesota having it up to here. It's 156-64. We got a little bit more than 7.5 minutes left in this half. And so far, Montreal has been able to get right back to playing their game. Minnesota's going to call a timeout because they need to talk things over and come up with a better strategy. All right, 156-64 in favor of the Montreal New Kids on the Block. Minnesota talking things over. They recognize they got to get back to getting lead jammer status here if they're going to have any hope of taking this game back. Even with this large lead, still not all is lost. But we're getting to that point. If Minnesota doesn't make a move here soon, Centripetal Force is going to be jamming up against MX Merrick. MX is to the front of the pack already. They are looking sharp. MX battling is able to make their way to the outside of turn one and is out. Minnesota Centripetal has been unable to get through. Takes off the star to make a pass, but has been unable to make the pass. Centripetal pushing their way through. Almost finds some daylight on the inside of turn one, but gets pushed out by Cheese Grater and has to be pushed back around. MX pushing up against Primrose. Primrose bodying MX up. There they go. MX scoring 4 points. Meanwhile, Centripetal Force has been unable to get out of the pack for the initial time. Here comes MX Merrick pushing their way through. Is able to get partway through the pack before turning to the outside lane and skating right through. Once again, Montreal putting on a clinic here when it comes to having huge jams. Oh, we got somebody hurt there. We're going to take a pause. Hold on a second, everybody. Skater down. We're going to take a medical timeout here. So, as we get ready for our next jam, we have Childish Gambino for Minnesota versus Motley Crue for Montreal. It's 168-64. All right, so here comes Motley Crue on the outside, tiptoeing their way, slings to the inside, and is through. Motley Crue is your lead jammer. Meanwhile, Childish Gambino forced out on the outside, cycled back, skipping around, engaging with the pack, trying to make the star pass, but was unable to make that star pass at first. Oh, there you go. The star pass has been made for Minnesota. So out comes Killer Bay. Killer Bay coming around with the star. She's going to try to force some pressure on Motley Crue. And there it is. Motley Crue having to call it after picking up the 4 points. 172-64. All right. So, coming out of that injury timeout, Montreal able to get lead jam status, able to pad the lead with 4 points. It's 172-64. Bro Citrus is out there, and they are going to be going up against Lefts for Dead. Wybro Citrus, quick off the line, right to the front, body to body with Whoops Daisy. Primrose is there to help contain, but unable to stop. There goes Wybro Citrus. She is your lead jammer yet again. She has been dominating when she's out there on the stripe. Okay, on the star, I mean to say. Here comes Less for Dead. Less for Dead trying to juke back and forth, unable to find anything. In the center, finally gets out of that pack. So after Wybro Citrus went through for a scoring pass, Less for Dead gets out, and they are a few feet. They're skating like a couple of darlings. They look like they're on a date together, the way they're skating together, dancing back and forth. A jammer playing defense. Oh, boy, that's always fun. Look at them, shoulder to shoulder, cheek to cheek, like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. All right, so Wybro Citrus lets it go, calls it, is able to pick up 2 more points before Left is able to pick up any. Left looking around like, didn't I at least get a few? It's 178-64. Yeah, jammers having a little fun out there. Wybro Citrus having a little fun out there, playing a little defense. It's always fun when you see the jammers play defense. All right, what is it? I believe it's Mermad versus Boo Boo. Hold on a second. They want to talk to the officials about something real quick. Just checking something with Dredd. It's one of the scorekeeping officials here, you know, determining who's lead jammer, following the jammer. All right, so we're ready to go. Everything's good. It's 178-64 in favor of the Montreal New Kids on the Block. Mermad and Boo Boo up to the line. Mermad trying a quick charge. Mermad is at the front. Boo Boo still being held to the back. Mermad fighting like a boxer through the very front, you know, turning the shoulders back and forth so they don't get an even block on her. Mermad is slowed down, but almost able to find that outside. Dougie, teach me how to Dougie with that push in the back. Forces her to the outside, but they called it cut the track. This is what I'm saying. Dougie did a great job with the booty pushing Mermad out. Mermad thought they could get right back on, but did not. So Mermad's in the box. Who's in the box? It's Mermad. Boo Boo trying to get out, I should say, of the pack. Won't be lead jammer, but out of the pack. We're going a full 2 minutes. We got a little bit over a minute. So here comes Boo Boo looking to score. Maybe make something out of this game from Minnesota. Boo Boo getting slowed down a little bit there. On the outside, trying to twirl around. Here comes Mermad. Mermad's released from the box. Mermad getting bodied up at the box. Finding a little daylight, but runs right into the tri-wall. So both teams have a tri-wall set up, stopping the jammers as we come to 40 seconds left. There was a quick whip it that allowed Mermad to temporarily get out of the box, or out of the pack, but pushed out of bounds. It's getting drawn all the way back by Dougie and crew. Meanwhile, while this has all been happening, Minnesota has absolutely locked down Boo Boo. Boo Boo stuck between turn 1 and 2 and hasn't made a move. And that's pure defense going on right there from Montreal. Dougie back down to the knees and back up again, trying to figure out how to get out. I'm saying Boo Boo, how to get out of that pack. Meanwhile, at the back, Mermad had gotten cycled to the back. She was unable to break out. So, Boo Boo picked up 3 points there. But at the end of the day, it's 178-67 in favor of Montreal. Not the cleanest jam that we've had all day, although not the messiest either. We got a minute and a half left in this half. It's 178-67 in favor of Montreal. Montreal's going to send one of their 2 big guns out there, MX Merrick. And Minnesota's going to send Lexi Cutter. So MX Merrick stuck right up against the outside line, going nowhere. Lexi stuck right next to them. Neither jammer finding daylight. Here comes MX to the inside, back to the outside, back to the inside. Lexi to the front of the pack, getting held up by a very large tri-wall, like a big, strong tri-wall. Oh, all 3 of those blockers really doing the damage on Lexi, not letting her get anywhere. Meanwhile, still trying to turn their feet. MX got cycled to the back. and now has gotten caught up by the big tribal of their own from Minnesota. MX got jailbroke and takes advantage. Ooh, takes a big block from Whoopsie, but is able to stay and get back on their feet. No cutting the track, so they're good. Coming around. Is engaging with the pack. This is the end of the half, but we still got time on the jam clock. So we're still going. MX turning their feet. Remember, points are important in this league, so they want to pick up as many points as they can. That's why they're not going to call it. They're going to keep playing to get more points. MX coming around, cycle to the back. Meanwhile, Lexi hasn't been able to get out of that pack, get any clean air. We got 30 seconds left in the jam. The ref's letting Primrose know. Got to get to the box. She's going to end this this bout in the box. Meanwhile, MX, Lexi, both have been stopped dead. The defense have stiffened up. The defense says we're going to end this game on a defensive struggle. Last 10 seconds, Merrick is able to get through, score those 4 points to increase the score from 182. And now it's 67, 182 to 67 is your score for the Montreal Roller Derby. 182 to 67. What an incredible bout we had. What we saw today, folks, was Montreal, new kids on the block, doing what they want to do, which is get out early and have huge jams, multi-score passes, right? Minnesota had a couple opportunities there where they got some lead jammers, scored some couple in a row, but ultimately they weren't able to keep the jammers of Montreal bottled up, especially once they got the lead jammer. Montreal was able most of the time to get double-digit scores out of their jams. So the teams are lining up to give each other hand slaps. The fans who are here are coming to the line to get their hand slaps as well. We want to thank you all for tuning in to Bout 1 of Silence of the Jams, hosted by the Gotham Roller Derby. We're going to take a pause while we get ready for the second bout. We will see you all shortly.